Call to order.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'm calling to order the regular council meeting dated Tuesday, 27th, 2021 at 4 p.m. Okay, Mr. Clerk, would you give me a roll call, please?
Yes, good afternoon. This is the roll call. The Honorable William Bill Edwards, Mayor.
Here.
Your Honorable Catherine F. Ryle, District 1.
Present.
The Honorable Carmelita Gums, District 2.
Present.
The Honorable Helen Z. Willis, District 3.
Present.
The Honorable Naima Gilliard, District 4. The Honorable Corey A. Reeves, District 5.
Accounted for.
The Honorable Councilmember Khalid, District 6. The Honorable Mark Baker, District 7.
Present.
Councilmember Gilliard, are you present? Councilmember Khalid, are you present? Mr. Mayor, you do have a quorum.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clerk. Invocation by our chaplain, please. Is the chaplain present? Mr. Clerk?
I do not see Pastor Henry in the meeting.
Well, in reference to a lot of basic religions that we do have, let us take a moment of silent prayer, please. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Clerk. Continue.
Next, we have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have item 5, Roman numeral 5, adoption of council agenda.
Okay.
I have some comments, Mayor.
Well, we've been waiting on you. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to pull number 23 from the agenda. I might bring it back later, but I want to pull it off the agenda.
Okay.
And I would like to put 13 and 14 on the consent agenda under the regular agenda.
Point of order.
Wait a minute. Let me get this down. You want 13 and 14 on the regular agenda?
Yes.
Okay. You had a point of order, Miss Willis. What was that point of order?
Okay, I misunderstood. She said she's requesting that the items be put off of the consent agenda and be put on the regular agenda.
That is correct. That's what she
Okay,
said.
thank you.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, I
Yes,
also
sir.
want to pull item number 22 off the agenda to the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Any other changes from anybody? Hearing none, I receive a motion.
I move that the regular council agenda be adopted for Tuesday, April 27th, 2021.
Second.
The properly moved to second. Any discussion?
Should we say with the changes that we made to the original agenda, that does that make a difference?
We
Yeah,
can't
as
say it,
amended.
we noted, but Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir. I would note that the agenda was motioned by Councilmember Willis, seconded by Councilmember Gums to approve the agenda as amended.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Roll call vote, Mr. Clerk?
Councilmember Ryle,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Here.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. I see he says yes in the chat. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That motion was approved unanimously.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is Roman numeral 6, approval of city council meeting minutes for regular meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2021.
Yeah.
The work session minutes from April 14th, 2021. Zoning public hearing minutes from April 14th, 2021, and special call meeting minutes from April 14th, 2021.
So move.
Second.
Properly moved to second, any discussion? And that is for all 4 of them. Any
That
discussion?
is correct, Mayor.
Yeah, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, Mr. Clerk, please.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes,
Yes.
Councilmember Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item was approved 6-0.
Okay, next item, please, Mr. Clerk.
Next item is a public hearing. Request council approval of an alcohol license for Andy Food Center Incorporated, doing business as Sam's Supermarket, located at 3840 Stonewall Tail Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30349. This item was held at the last regular meeting.
Wait a minute.
That's not item number 5.
That's not item number 5 on my list item.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor and Council, I sent out a revised agenda on Friday, adding the Andy's Food Center then. So
Somebody give me my revised agenda. I have it myself getting out, but go ahead. Does everybody have the revised agenda?
We will
I
have to go
don't.
back. I don't have the
Yes,
revised.
it's in Novus.
I don't.
Yes.
yes, it's in Novus, and also with the public comment that I sent you today, I included a updated agenda in that communication as well.
And you may have, I
Okay.
just didn't, So you all right, but going to Novus and looking at the agenda as we proceed forward?
Yes, that's fine.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, so request council approval of an alcohol license for Andy Food Center Incorporated, doing business as Sam's Supermarket, located at 3840 Stonewall Tail Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30349. And this item was held at the last meeting.
So this is the public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Staff?
Yes, Mayor, good afternoon. So this business has met all of the criteria. It's my understanding it was held in the previous meeting. One of the council members wanted to actually go before their constituents to see if there was any opposition to it. So I do know that there is a public hearing for it here, but this establishment has met all of the criteria. And we're just bringing it to the body for consideration today.
Okay, well, what I do is I open public hearing. Those who are for, anyone for the request?
M-
Mr. Clerk, is there anyone for the request?
Yes, so we did not receive any comments for the application or against the application.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion.
I move, Mayor. I cannot, for some reason, I can't request to make comment from the Novus agenda. I have it up, but I don't see where I can request to make comment.
Mine says disabled request to speak. I don't know why it's saying that.
Well, I would like to move, since this business is in my district, and I do have one question from Chief Meadows. Chief Meadows, is this only for beer and wine?
I believe so. Major Johnson, are you on? I'm almost certain it is. Councilwoman.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and beer and wine up until what time?
Till his store closes, based on his store hours, or until the legal requirements, which would be 11:45 p.m. for retail.
Okay, well, I haven't received, I wanted to extend this, and I extended it to this council meeting because I wanted to give residents an opportunity to send emails, to show up to the public hearing, for or against this request, and I have not received one email, and no one showed up to the public hearing for or against this measure. And so I don't want to prolong this. I am going to motion to approve the alcohol license.
Did we have a motion, Mr. Clerk, or not?
No, sir.
Okay, go ahead. That's your motion, Ms. Willis?
Yes, that's my motion.
Okay, can I get a
Second.
second? Properly
Second.
moved second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, a roll call, please.
Roll call. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard, Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid, Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved 5-0.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 6, public hearing regarding a request for alcohol license revocation, Cigaros of Georgia LLC, doing business at Cigaros. Police Department.
I'll entertain, Mr. Clerk, excuse me, the police, go right ahead. Staff.
So, Mayor, we routinely communicate with the finance department, and it's my understanding that this business has been in arrears for their excise tax. After we discussed it with the finance department, and they have given this business ample opportunity to make good on that excise tax. It's my understanding they still have failed to follow through. I will defer to finance on the parameters surrounding the agreement that they had with Cigaros, if it's the body's desire to hear that information.
Okay. I'm going to open public hearing. Anyone from Cigaros?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go right ahead. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Go right ahead. Your turn to speak.
Yes, I really don't have much to say, but was just looking for ample time to resolve the issue based on
Mayor,
the
can we
situation I have
ask
going on with the bank.
At the appropriate time, you're right, Ms. Helen. We can. Let me get this done first. I haven't closed.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I'm gonna close public hearing. Go ahead. Anybody with any questions?
Yes, I have questions. Mr. Conrad, thank you for attending today. Mr. Conrad, I have spoken with you in regards to the financial rulings that not only your business, small business, but several small businesses have been hit since the pandemic, and several small businesses throughout the nation are really at the beck and call of waiting on approval from the SBA, services. And, with this business, I'm going to be honest with you, it has not been a nuisance to the community. We have not had any violent crime incidents. We have maybe had a couple of car break-ins, but we have not had any major crime incidents at this business. And I just want to ask, can you explain to the council, how hard it has been since the pandemic and where you are with the SBA loan process?
Okay, since the last year, profitability for the business has dropped 70%, or going on 13 months, 14 months. So that's been the major problem. Whereas, before there was 5 to 6 busy nights, now there's only 1 to 2, if that, which is only a Friday and a Saturday night, if that. So as far as the SBA is concerned, we're just basically waiting for the loan with the SBA has been ongoing since last November between Citizens Trust Bank and SBA. And from my knowledge, as of 30 minutes ago, before I got on a call, consulting with the lender and the broker, we're just waiting on the SBA to sign off on everything. All the conditions and everything has been met and everything like that. So that's just basically the nuts and bolts of it.
And so with your permission, once I spoke with you, you told me about the SBA process, and I asked for permission to speak with your broker so that I can get an understanding of, where you are with your loan process. And according to your broker, she told me that you are the first approval process been completed. You have passed the first approval process. And so they're just waiting on the second approval process. And it's been 3 weeks now, the second process, and you could hear something within the next 30 days. Is that correct, Mr. Conrad?
That is correct.
And so what I would like to do, again, this has been a respectable business, small business that has been severely impacted, like most businesses throughout the nation, due to the pandemic. And we have not had any violent crime incidents at this business. This business is a watering hole spot that everybody in the community, I won't say everybody, but a lot of people in the community really go to patronize and enjoy. I frequent the business every now and then when I want, to let my hair down. And so I would ask the council if we could I did speak with the SBA consultant, and she said Mr. Conrad should hear something back from the bank and SBA within the next 30 days. So I would ask the council to please, give him at least 30 days to hear back from SBA on whether or not he has met the loan approval. And from my understanding, how much is the loan you're waiting on to get approved, Mr. Conrad?
Approximately $69,000.
By closing this business, we're not only is Mr. Conrad at a loss, but we're at a loss too, because we may never recoup the revenue that is owed to us. I would ask the council consider giving Mr. Conrad at least 30 days to try to get the SBA approval, and then we go from there. And that's my motion.
Second it.
It's properly moved to second. We're in discussion now, and I see Mr. Khalid. Mr. Khalid?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I just had a question for Ms. Robinson of how long they've been in arrears.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes, sir. This has been since the beginning of January 2020.
Okay.
You still have the floor, Mr. Khalid.
That's it.
Okay. I look, Ms. Willis, you're back in the queue. Or was that the first?
Yes. Yeah, no, I just would say that, yes, I understand that, but the pandemic has impacted the nation. And if we have a small business in our community that has a chance to recoup because of assistance from small business, from SBA, I would hope that we would show some mercy, and we're asking only for 30 days for him to hear back from the bank. Thank you.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote, Mr. Clerk.
It's a roll call vote to delay any action for 30 days. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That motion was approved unanimously.
Okay, let's move to the next topic, next agenda item.
Next item is item 7. This is rezoning, variance, and modification cases. Z20-007, council to consider a rezoning at 0 Butner Road from R3-A to CUP for the purpose of developing a residential subdivision. It's located in District 2.
Before we get started on this, I want to remind all of you that we have heard these cases. Some of these cases have been held over for different times. If we go back and look at the previous legislation that was sponsored by Ms. Willis, its intent was that we go through everything, have all the conversation, and it's my understanding is that today we're to vote on these items. If there is a condition, I will take that condition or something of that nature, but to have a long dialogue on some things that we've been dialoguing for weeks, I think we're at the point now where we need to vote them up or down. Okay, the first one, he's already announced.
So Mayor, this is in my district, and I did have a statement because I believe a lot of the council members have received emails from residents. So I just want to say that first, I want to thank the residents for sharing their concerns regarding this development. Like you, I am very committed to building a community that we can all be proud of and where all residents can thrive.
Okay.
We have been dealing with this for over a year now and engaged in lengthy conversations and discussions with the builder and the residents impacted by this development. I have provided multiple opportunities to facilitate constructive dialogue between the residents and the builders along with myself. These meetings have resulted in a number of concessions by the builder that most residents have supported. As residents, we have had the opportunity to weigh in on this development, as you mentioned, Mayor. Based on these concessions and the resident feedback, I am confident that we can move forward in good faith. We have an overwhelming response of support for this project versus those who are opposed. And please know that I have taken everyone's concern into consideration in this final decision. I have received your emails along with my colleagues. I welcome your continued feedback about development in our area, especially in District 2. I ask that you please continue to be engaged in the planning processes and public input forms that are critical to shaping our community. It is important that homeowners in South Fulton maintain their home values and get return on their investments. Additionally, it is equally important that we support housing stock at a variety of price points to ensure families can afford and have access to the American dream in South Fulton. We have to have a balanced perspective as we make decisions on development. And that is precisely what I've done in this situation and will continue to do in future opportunities. So I just wanted to make that very clear because it seems as if we're not listening to the residents, and I want them to be very aware that we are very concerned about their feedback.
Ms.
So
Guns,
again, thank you.
I have one question for you.
Yes.
Does this particular zoning include 5-foot front setbacks?
Yes, and I was about to go ahead and move the motion so we can spread that over the minutes.
Okay.
At this time, I would like to move forward with the said conditions to include the 5-foot front yard stagger setback, the 8-foot fence, and the executed agreement between Legend Oaks and residents and the builder and the additional residents. And I ask to have that spread across the minutes for future reference.
Thank you so much. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Willis.
So, I just would like to say, I commend Councilmember Gums, and I know this has been long. And this does, close District 2 and District 3 are closely aligned. And she has been beat up a lot regarding these developments. And yes, I did receive some comments, but I want to make it clear and transparent. I've only received 3 emails. In each of our districts, we have over 17,000 residents. And so I've only received 3 emails. And so if she has worked with the community and she has majority of the community in favor of any of these projects, I am not going to stand in the way. I ask for resident input. I ask for residents to take action if they are for or against any project or any development in the city. And then I make my decisions based off of that. And I've only received 3 emails. I want to make that clear. Thank you.
Okay?
Mr. Mayor, this is Nathan in planning. May I interject briefly?
Yeah, you can.
I just would like to add that the traffic engineer recommended the condition of traffic calming devices be installed on the roadways.
What
So
kind
if that could be,
how many devices are you talking about?
there are several listed as options in our zoning ordinance, but speed bumps would be the ideal solution here.
What is the proper protocol in terms of getting input from the community as it pertains to speed bumps?
Speed bumps are decided upon by the traffic engineer when they review the plan, really based on the length of straightaways, and they just suggested those be put in to avoid residents speeding down long straight roads.
Who pays?
So
for
is this inside of the development?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And they would be installed at.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. You gotta listen very carefully. Everybody ain't up for speed bumps. I'll tell you they're calm traffic and everything, but there is some liability that comes along with issuing the speed bumps. And so if you have a list of other things that they need to look at, they maybe need to consider that. Because someone, if they're not okay with this and they come across that speed bump and their car is damaged, they're gonna look at us. So if you're gonna put it on the minutes, if Ms. Gums, you want to, the option of looking at some things, I think we should go with it that way instead of just saying we're gonna do speed bumps.
I prefer that it is that we will look at all traffic calming mechanisms to be spread across the minutes as well for this subdivision.
Okay. Okay, sir?
Thank you.
Yes, sir, that's great.
Roll call, please.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Ms. Gilliard, go ahead.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker,
Abstain.
Why?
Because if I recall correctly, this was a project that our staff recommended denial, but I do want to support the councilwoman, therefore I just abstain.
Okay.
that item was approved 501.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is the concurrent variance, CV 20-002. Council to consider a concurrent variance to KZ 20-007 at 0 Butner Road for the purpose of constructing a retaining wall in a buffer area, District 2.
So this concurrent variance goes along with the first project. So I would like to go ahead and move forward with acceptance of that.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard, Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Abstain.
Why?
That is approved 501.
Let me get the reason for the abstention.
Same as the first, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right. Next item. That's approved.
Next item is item 9, M21-004. Council to consider a modification at 0 Camilton Road to allow for the construction of an apartment complex with commercial outparcels. This is located in District 1.
Ms. Rob?
Yes, I would like to impose a couple conditions. Well, I move that we accept M21-004 with the following two conditions. One, that there be no more than 4 commercial buildings fronting Camilton Road. and that there be no fast food drive-throughs on the site, on Hamilton Road.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved in second. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Go ahead.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved, 6-0.
I think next item, please.
Next item is a concurrent variance, CV 21-002. Council to consider a concurrent variance to case M 21-004 to reduce parking requirements from 1.96 spaces per unit to 1.62 spaces per unit. It's located in District 1.
Councilwoman Rao.
I move that we approve CV 21-002 for concurrent variance to case M 21-004 to
Okay.
reduce parking
Second.
requirements.
It's
Second.
properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard, Councilmember Reeves, Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved, 6-0.
Okay, next agenda item, please.
Next agenda item is public comment. Mr. Mayor and Council, we did receive a total of 10 comments into the clerk's office. We have 4 speakers who request to provide live comment. When your name is called, please state your name, your district, and you will have 2 minutes to make your comment. The first speaker is Mr. Marcus Coleman, who lives in District 3 and 7. Mr. Coleman? Okay, Mr. Coleman was in the meeting, but it appears, okay, it says he dropped off. Okay, next is Mrs. Gloria Williams, who lives in District 2. Ms. Williams? Next is Mrs. Susan Myers, who lives in District 2, and I believe she is present.
Yeah, man, get this shit done, man. Everybody. Thank you.
Mrs. Myers?
All right.
You're on mute, ma'am.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there are a couple of things I want to say about Briar Creek's request to rezone. One, I oppose it because traffic is bad enough out here. And if you grant that, you're adding more traffic, even though it's just 3 homes to some people, that's a lot. It's adding to what we already have. And so that you understand and know where I live at 6055 Butner Road. There is one house between my home and Briar Creek, and that would be Deanna Restpress's home. So this whole thing with the ingress, egress being onto Butner Road and the only way in and out is dumping all that traffic on Butner Road. It's already dangerous for us to exit out our driveway to the left because we can't see oncoming traffic during rush hour. So it's already dangerous for us. And adding more through Briar Creek and only one way to go in and out on the Butner makes it even worse. So it would be nice, since Legend Oaks has received a substantial payment from Pulte and is benefiting from this, they should bear the burden of it too. Those of us that are negatively impacted the most are being ignored. If you don't provide ingress, egress through Legend Oaks, I remember Michelle Battles said, well, nobody's going to want to go through Legend Oaks to go to Camp Creek. Wrong. If you go out Legend Oaks to go to Camp Creek, you can make a safe right. You can see all the traffic that's coming to make a right. But if you exit out on Butner Road, you have to make a left. You may not see that oncoming traffic during rush hour because the line goes past my house. So they're not going to see that traffic. So to pass this zoning, this rezoning, in my opinion, it puts more of a burden on me and my neighbors because we're negatively impacted. If you pass it, you're ignoring those that are telling you we're negatively impacted and rewarding those that have already been paid a substantial amount from Pulte for whatever reason, I don't know, but they have. And I'm sure most of those letters you have supporting that, they're Legend Oaks residents because they've been bribed, they've been bought and paid for. And the last
Thank you.
thing I'm gonna say about this, if you agree to it, you've been bought and paid for too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Myers. The next speaker is Joseph Santoro. Mr.
Good
Santoro.
afternoon. Yes, thank you. My name is Joseph Santoro. With the Council for Quality Growth. We're a non-for-profit trade association representing the development industry with over 300 companies, comprising of architects, attorneys, contractors, developers, engineers, as well as financial executives. And just want to say appreciate the tabling of the resolution, agenda item 23, the resolution establishing the 180-day moratorium on the acceptance of any rezoning applications, site plans, constructive permits, and for further study and consideration. And while we understand some of the concerns there, we working alongside some of our partner associations can assist in gathering up a roundtable of builders and developers to help build and work together to create smart directives for these types of projects. So just want to say that, and that we're here as a resource. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Mr. Marcus Coleman. Mr. Coleman.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear
Well,
you.
yeah, thank you. It's been a minute since I've been able to address, this distinguished body. And Mr. Mayor, I'll pretty much direct everything towards you, sir. One, I wish we could reconsider the yielding of time for residents. I know even in the email that I received states that there would be no yielding, but I mean, Mr. Mayor, all the big girls and big boys are doing it. And considering that we have a new city, there are plenty of people that have expertise in certain areas. And even though this 2 minutes is gracious, I would hope that more residents would get on board with demanding that we be able to yield our time. That's one. Two is, Mr. Mayor, these thumbnails. I appreciate the council members that show video, but just, with no disrespect to those who don't, Mr. Mayor, I believe it starts with you. I mean, with these city council meetings, I think it's important for residents to see facial expressions, to see what people are doing. I mean, honestly, in your day-to-day conversations, if you would do this with someone else, it would be considered rude. And I'm not sure why you guys are allowed to use thumbnails. Lastly, Mr. Mayor, these public addresses, people take their hard time and they, work and they present what they want to say to mayor and council. And most of the time, these comments, these questions, they go unanswered. Now, I know you all can't answer everybody right now, but we discussed this a while back, and it would be great if people received an email. I'm sorry, this is my last point here. The elephant in the room, we know that there's pending litigation. I will simply say this. I have tried everything in my possible power not to spill this out into the public, but I've been met with a closed door, which is very disrespectful and dishonorable in my opinion. Closing, you have less than, I think, 2 weeks to respond to an ante-litem. I'm hoping that the city makes a wise legal decision and does not draw this out into the public, because if you read the file on Officer Muhammad, I'm certain he is not the one that you want to stick by. Shooting dogs, killing them, restraining orders, beating his wife, plenty of incident reports, and now this documented with me. So I'm hoping you guys do the right thing. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor and Council, we have 7 speakers left and we have 7 minutes. So I'll start the clock and I will read the remaining public comment. The next public comments from Jacqueline Brown, who lives on Butner Road in District 3. Her comment is, the City of South Fulton school zone issue is misleading with abuse of powers against the public. Next is Juliet Rankins, who lives on Grassy Trace in District 4. Her comment is, thank you, Councilman Khalid, for following through on demolishing blighted properties in the City of South Fulton. Thank you for doing something that actually helped City of South Fulton citizens and improves their quality of life. Next is from Michael Venable, who lives on Montilly Circle in District 6. I would request you enter a resolution to revert the zoning hearings back to the original process. This action of only hearing the zoning discussions and voting on them later dilutes not only the emphasis of all the concerns, but also the quality of the citizen response. The time lapse will only cause parties to forget relevant points and give the public the impression council is trying to dodge issues. When trials are completed, they are immediately sent to the jury. Now, with the recent alcohol revocation hearings, you vote after the discussion, and if held or deferred, you still have deliberation with all parties again. No other jurisdiction operates as such, and the new process hurts public participation and subsequently the citizens' quality of life. Next is a comment from Angela James, who lives on Arbor Run Place in District 2. She says no to M21004, CV 21002. I vote no for this new development with Pulte Homes coming into Legends with these subpar homes. I'm baffled as to why Legend homeowners would want a substandard housing development adjacent to them to bring down all the home values, including mine in Regency Oaks. I vote no. Next is Charles Mitchell, who lives on West Stubbs in District 4. I'm opposed to the approval of Z20-007 and CV20-002, 0 Butner Road. The current plan not only violates the land use plan, but also violates a recorded development between the former owner, JW Homes, successors, and assigns the Cliftondale Community Club. This agreement was spread on the Fulton County Commission meeting minutes at the time of the rezoning by the Commissioner of District 7. The agreement stipulates the development of this parcel that will comply with the land use plan and eliminate the need for a stream buffer variance. This development currently proposed impacts more residents than just a few neighbors. Next is Jewel Johnson, who lives on Orkney Lane in District 1. Hello, Mayor and Council. Transparency is the key to a functional and healthy city. It eliminates any hearsay or confusion when it comes to information concerning operations and our tax dollars. I am demanding a complete account of the proposed $15 million in spending for T-Splosh. We need a line-by-line, district-by-district breakdown of how these funds are spent. The citizens are owed this explanation, and such information must be made public on the city's website. If we can't be transparent, then give the people their tax dollars back. Furthermore, Loch Lomond is still not resolved. We are unsafe over here. Currently, any 911 call is routed to the city of Atlanta, and we are inside the city of South Fulton. We pay for all city services and get nothing but code enforcement. Zone 4 in Atlanta is very busy, so our calls are not a top priority. And if we do get an officer, they're under the impression that Loch Lomond is in the city of Atlanta. I have seen neighbors look dumbfounded when an Atlanta officer shows up for a 911 call. Any case Atlanta brings before Fulton County courts can get thrown out on simple jurisdictional issues. Atlanta has no jurisdiction to pick up trash, recycling, answer 911 calls, whatever in Loch Lomond. Atlanta has exhausted all legal options and needs to accept they have lost this battle and pull their resources out and apply them to their proper city boundaries. The last comment is from Gloria Williams, who lives on Cole Lane in District 2. As a resident of the city of South Fulton, I ask that the city council not approve the following projects presented in zoning cases Z20-007 and CV20-002. Vote no if we continue to allow developers and builders to disregard density requirements and ignore the need for higher price higher quality homes, the property values in District 1, 2, 3, and 4 will continue to be decimated. In 2008, 2010, the average sales price of homes built in Legend Oaks by John Whelan was $437,347. In 2014 to 2015, the average sales price of homes built in Legend Oaks by D.R. Horton was $378,257. The last home that was sold in Legend Oaks, 3752 Lynn Arbor, was built in 2014 and sold for $525,000 in 2019. Recent sales in North Fulton and Serenbe of comparable homes built in 2014 recently sold for an average sales price of $748,675. Pulte owns the John Whelan brand and can build better than what is being proposed with the Briar Creek subdivision. M21004, CV21002 can build better than what is being proposed with the Briar Creek subdivision. How will this development compare to Summerhill or City Springs? Why did the applicant remove the office and institutional portion of this development and office projects, medical facilities, more diverse retail is exactly what is needed and what residents want. More apartment buildings will not grow our tax base. And who wants to live next to a warehouse? Can the housing component be moved further away from the warehouses and instead of apartments, condos would be a welcome addition to the housing mix in the city of South Fulton? As a resident of South Fulton, I am requesting the city council immediately impose a moratorium on any detached single-family and townhome residential developments being built under $500,000 and being transitioned to rental units in the city of South Fulton. The moratorium should be enacted for as long as it takes to create and enact an ordinances that would permanently ban such practices. I also request a limit on the number of detached single-family and townhome units owned in one subdivision by a single entity or any division of that entity. We ask that the city council and mayor be more strategic and deliberate in preserving property values in all 7 districts. The benefit of the residents should supersede the benefit of developers. And that completes the public comment.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, before we go any further, Madam Manager,
Yes, sir.
couple of things I would like to do. One is that I would like our Public Works Department to submit to us a complete study as they feel along Butner Road. Butner Road is becoming a hot spot for development. I want to make sure that we are in line with everything we need to be in line with to make sure that all residents are equally adhered to. And so I would like for them to really give me and I know at some point in time, we as a council are going to have to look at some changes to Butner Road. I mean, it's just a matter of time we're going to have to do that. Secondly, I do want to say that, and we started this, any comments that we cannot get to that people don't have an answer for, Madam Manager, I would like for them, whatever department, to send them by way of email or whatever, a response to their question that they had in Public Works. I think that is fair.
And there's a resolution that addresses that we
Right.
for public comments and transparency.
It is. It absolutely does. So I want to make sure that we continue to do what we resolved to do and make sure that those questions are asked. I do agree with him saying that. I don't agree with the fact that there are many municipalities and county governments who do not relinquish time in public hearings, so that's another deal. But anyway, I would like to just make those 2 comments. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Mr.
thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I'm in the queue.
I see.
I wanted to jump on what you are talking about, and just so that you'll know, just because you really might not, but on Rivertown Road, we're talking about 1,300 additional homes. And on the other side of Cedar Grove Road, we're talking about 1,000 homes. And the traffic is horrendous. I don't know about this until the residents contact me and talk to me about how much trouble they're having in the mornings when they're trying to get out. So those 2 areas really need to be looked at as well as it relates to traffic. Now, I know that we've been waiting for almost 2 or maybe 3 years for a roundabout in Rivertown and Cedar Grove Road. And now I'm told, oh, it's going to happen in 2022. And that's a long time to have to continue to deal with without having adequate, an adequate response to the traffic. It's awful.
Ms. Gilliard, I agree with you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I agree with you. And once again, Madam Manager, those places that we have like that, we got T-spots coming up. We have to really get our list together for what we're going to do. And so those types of things we need to consider with the impact it's going to have on surrounding community. So I would add that road to the list also.
Okay,
Mayor.
all right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
before you move on to council comments, I just want to add that we may want to consider moving the public comments up prior to the hearing, so that if there's any public comments that are relative to the hearings, that we would get them prior to the hearing.
Chair has no problem. Chair has no problem with that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Clerk,
Yes, sir.
go ahead.
Next item is item 9. I'm sorry, item 10, council comments.
Go ahead. Let's start with Mr. Baker this time and go back the other way. Mr. Baker? Is he there, Mr. Clerk?
Let me see.
I am. Can you hear me?
Oh,
I
yeah.
hear you now, Mr. Baker. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I would first like to say thank you to Feeding Families Georgia, Jill Lindsay, and so many others who sponsored and took part in the first of the monthly Common Unity series. This was on April 16th, where we had Dr. Umar Johnson, who gave an amazing delivery, as well as Brother Yusuf Salam, one of the Central Park Five, now known as the Exonerated Five. We gave away 20,000 pounds of food at the LA Fitness parking lot on Old National. And it was just an amazing event, an amazing turnout, where we social distanced and allowed everyone to sit in their cars who wanted to turn to a certain station and they could hear everything that was said throughout the program, as well as Commissioner Khadija Rahman. And we also had State Senator Sonia Halpern that was there and is honored as well. It was an amazing event. And I asked that everyone look forward to next month. I believe it will be on Friday, May 21st, where we'll have featured guest Riza Islam, as well as many more. But we're also going to give out those 20,000 pounds of food as well. So just keep a lookout for my newsletters, mark.baker at City of South Fulton, GA.gov. If you're not receiving a newsletter, I'll be happy to add you to the list. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Baker. Great job. Mr. Khalid, I think you're next.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to give a special shout out to Miss Nadia Jackson, who is the valedictorian for Tri-Cities High School this year, a proud City of South Fulton resident and a neighbor of mine somewhat here in Creel Park. Next, I've heard a lot of comments about our council comments. I just am happy to remind everyone watching that we will be back live and in person in July. So we only have to do this for one more council meeting, actually, because we don't have a council meeting scheduled for June. And finally, as always, we've been hearing a lot of comments about zoning and housing and how we are putting that all together. I wanted to share my screen, but it's fine. My time is almost up. Please just visit our city's website. We have a comprehensive plan overhaul that we're going through right now. And on May 4th, we are going to have a town hall. For more information about that town hall and the comprehensive plan rewrite, if you're not already getting my newsletter or text alerts, you can text the word Fulton, Fulton, to 33777. Thank you so much. South Fulton.
Next, I think it's Miss, am I correct, Mr. Clerk? Is that Ms. Gilliard?
Mr. Reeves,
They just want to skip all over District
Mr.
5.
Reeves,
Yes, I'm here.
Ask you a question, Mr.
I
Reeves.
just tell you, equity and inclusion. Can we get some? Can we show some love out here? But, thank you so much. But I do want to give shout out to we had the Georgia Environmental Justice Education and Awareness Symposium, great success, and then also to our Burdett Park 10 and under major City of South Fulton champions, the first ever Champions in the Park League, to bring that here to the City of South Fulton. Burdett Park, Burdett Gym, you know, where the legends are made. All other courts are scrimmage courts, but hey, you come down here to District 5. So, and then also to shout out to equity and inclusion, and so that we will all be included into our blighted home fund, our blighted home that will be demolished in all districts, and so that some are being spread out and some has been done and some is still incomplete. And I went on to birthday week to the City of South Fulton. Saturday, we celebrate 4 years old. And I just want to say happy birthday to the City of South Fulton. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Ms. Gilliard, I think you're next.
Yes, I am. I received a very interesting email today, and it was from someone who says that they have over 700 Girl Scout cookies that are remaining unsold, and they were wondering if they could partner with the upcoming food giveaway and sell the cookies. I don't know how those two things mix together, but I am going to talk with Councilperson Willis later on about this. I just received this today. I am getting a significant amount of consistent email from constituents about a couple of things. Retention ponds, where developers are definitely not taking care of them during the time that they're in the subdivision, and then they try to leave and leave the burden on the HOA. So that's one. Traffic is continuous, in addition to not having lights. And then all of a sudden they used to at one time not be a lot of trash, and then consistent trash. And then there's the developments that are coming up. And in so many instances, there are a lot of questions that I can't answer. So that actually needs to change. And lastly, I'm meeting with all different types of community groups and HOAs just to get a feel for where they are and what's going on. And I'm learning a lot of things that I didn't know and how much they really, really need. And then lastly, and this is the most difficult one, why are we having to deal with all of these warehouses, even though we know that they're not in our city? Where's the restaurants? Where's the retail? We are tired of shopping outside the city. And so I'm lost for words. I know that it is very, very frustrating. I'm frustrated. And I believe in time that's going to change. So hopefully it has to. But anyway, that's all that I have.
Thank you, Ms. Gilliard. I think next is Ms. Willis.
Yes, thank you, everyone, for all of your thoughts and prayers relative to my mother's illness. She is still hospitalized, but she is progressing. I am here in South Fulton to take care of city business, and I want to thank all who volunteered and participated in our last meeting in the city at Burdett Park. Thank you, Councilman Reeves, for stepping up and leading the efforts. In my absence, we will have another Feed the City on May 7th. food distribution at Sandtown Park. We will hit every district. And I want to thank the Atlanta Community Food Bank for partnering with the city of South Fulton. Westlake, we will be at Westlake High School tomorrow honoring our national champions, Lady Lions. At 3 p.m., we will meet at Wolf Creek Library. I want to give a special thank you to LaShondra Little, who has led the organization of this, honoring the Lady Lions from District 3. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., we will be meeting up at Wolf Creek Park and proceeding to Westlake High School to honor them. On May 11th and 13th, there will be a vaccination opportunity for residents. So please go out and register at Solid Rock Pentecostal in District 3. There will be a vaccination opportunity. Please get vaccinated. Commissioner Marvin Aronson and I will be hosting a job youth fair at Welcome All Park on May 15th. We have seen on the news where several businesses are closing because they don't have help. I mean, people are not going after the fast food and retail jobs as they once were. So we are bringing the WorkSource bus to Welcome All Park, and we want to hire our teens for the summer so they can have something to do. If you're not getting my newsletters, please go to southfultonv3.com. That is my website to subscribe to them. I want you to stay informed and engaged. And it's important that if you are for or against any development that is coming to the city of South Fulton, that you speak up and you speak out, because for me, that's what matters to me, what residents want. Thank you so much. And thank you for participating in our meeting today, and have a blessed day.
Okay, Ms. Gomes, you're next.
First, I want to give a great big shout out. I know Councilwoman Willis just mentioned it to the Westlake Lady Lions. I am hoping that residents will be out, if you are in the area or you're working from home, to take a minute to just stand outside and cheer our girls on for tomorrow. Also, giving a big shout out to our salutatorian and valedictorian of Westlake High School. They will be receiving a presentation tomorrow morning as well from District 2, and they do live in District 2, and we're very proud of them. Also, today started testing for our scholars in the district. So please make sure your child is getting plenty of sleep, rest, eating, because we want their performance to be very well on their testing. And that's, for all of the schools within the city of South Fulton, but especially Stonewall Tell, Cliftondale, and then also Westlake. And there is a campaign that is going on, and you may see that on my Facebook, where I'm sharing these scholars that are on honor roll or just being promoted, and they're putting yard signs in their yards. So if you see the little yard sign, give them a honk, because it makes them feel really good. And I had one student say to me, "Oh, this is exciting." So I want residents to kind of gather in to support our students. Also, too, I will be having the District 2 Town Hall quarterly meeting on May the 27th at 6:30. So please look out for that link. There will also be a D2 survey that will be sent out to residents. Hopefully by the 1st of May, we will have that sent out. We do value your opinions, and we want to make sure that you do share more information of how we are doing in the city of South Fulton. And lastly, as Councilmember Reeves mentioned, I did want to say happy birthday to the city of South Fulton. It has been an exciting 4 years, and just excited about our future. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Gomes. Okay, Councilwoman Riley, you're on.
Thank you. First off, I want to thank all the residents who came out to our Earth Day event on this past Friday. We had collected over 600 books that we'll be using in our parks and rec centers, as well as in our tiny libraries across the city, as well as we were able to fill up almost the entire truck for the American Kidney Foundation, and we had dozens of cars come by to take advantage of free shredding. So thank you for that. We will have we rescheduled our community cleanup day for the Cascade Corridor to this coming Saturday due to the rain. from this past Saturday. So if you have an opportunity, although I will be participating in the city council retreat, the group will still be convening on this Saturday from 10 to 12 at the Cascade Driving Range. On June 5th, we have a Trail Bill Day in partnership with the Southeast Trust for Parks and Land. More information will be forthcoming. And finally, we want to tell everybody to take advantage of the vaccines that are available in our city. There are multiple dates available at Elizabeth Baptist Church in Zion Hill. Thanks to CORE for partnering with me and the mayor to try to expand the sites across the city, and you'll see more of them as well. Thank you.
Okay, lastly, let me just say this, hats off and kudos to our own Langston Hughes High School, who won the state debate championship. Langston High School debate team completed in the Georgia State Championship hosted by the Atlanta Urban Debate League. Langston High School has won back-to-back state champion 2019 to 2020 and 2020 to 21. Damian Moore and Jazzy Smith won the championship in 2019, 2020, and in 2021, Madison Webb won the varsity state championship. Just kudos and give them applause. We got a lot of back-to-back championships in the city of South Fulton. All right, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir. Next item is consent agenda, approval of the consent agenda. That's items 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, and 18.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Wait a minute. Let me see what-
Properly moved to second discussion. Hearing none, a roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes, you
Coun-
did pull the what I asked for, right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, because I got the old agenda. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, yeah.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved 6-0.
Next, Mr. Clerk.
Next item is previous agenda items. Item 19, second reading and request council approval of amended parking ordinance. The title is an ordinance amending Title 8 Traffic and Vehicles of the City Code of Ordinances, enhancing city parking regulations and for other lawful purposes.
Ms. Williams, you can make a motion if you like.
Yes, I move that we approve the amending parking ordinance.
Second.
The properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none in the queue. Roll call vote, please, Mr. Adams.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomes.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes,
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid. Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item was approved 6-0.
Next item, please.
Next item is item 20, second reading and request council approval of an ordinance by the city of South Fulton, Georgia, amending Title 4, Law Enforcement of the City Code of Ordinances, enacting regulations with respect to false alarms and for other lawful purposes.
Ms. Willis.
Yes, I would motion that we approve this ordinance to amend the taxation code to include
minute.
the updates.
Oh, no,
I work
ma'am.
with the city
no,
manager.
no.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
Ms. Willis, it's the false alarm ordinance.
This is in my ordinance. It says police, but I'm looking at the old agenda. I apologize. I move that we approve the false alarm ordinance.
Second.
I have a discussion. Is it my understanding, and Chief, you may correct me, that there's a pending litigation that's coming to the governor's office that would be in conflict with what we're approving today?
There is some changes that's being made to the state law as it relates to false alarms. But what the state is looking to do is to put restrictions on the fines levied against alarm companies. Our ordinance actually levies fines towards the homeowners. I believe in Sandy Springs and Brookhaven, their false alarm ordinance is a little different than ours. And so it's my understanding they want the alarm companies to remain profitable. So they've taken out those their ability to fine the alarm companies. But
So
I did have some.
Go ahead.
I did have some conversations with Mr. Hyman, and he may want to interject here where he needed to review a few things. Mr. Hyman, are you good with moving forward, or would you prefer that we hold it?
I would just prefer to hold it, because that way, just in case there's any type of amendment to the bill that we're not aware of, any conflicts, we won't have to come back and then re-amend our ordinance.
Well, the motion on the floor right now is
So if the city attorney is requesting that we hold it, I will remove, I will ask to remove my motion and request to hold this measure.
okay. Ms. Rao, you are in the queue.
Yes, Chief Meadows, as we prepare to figure out how we would implement this, I would ask that you work with Cry Wolf and the GIS staff to make sure that all addresses within the city of South Fulton are captured in their system. I have received word from some residents that they tried to go register and their address was not found.
Right. Yeah, and I've already reached out to Major Johnson. We've already started that process. But thank you for bringing that. And that, I guess, if any of the council members get word that residents aren't able to register, please feel free to direct them to the police department, and we'll make sure that we create a system of checks and balances to make sure that all of our residents are in that system.
So Mayor, in that case, I move that we table this so that we don't have to worry about bringing it back every council meeting until, and when we are, Chief Meadows, let us know when we need to bring this back. And so for now, I will move that we table this ordinance.
Ms. Gumbs, you were the second on the first motion. You accept?
Yes, I do.
Good. Is there a second to that?
Second.
All right, properly moved and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote please by roll call.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item was tabled unanimously.
Next item, please.
Next item is item 21. It's the second reading and request council approval of an ordinance amending Title II, Taxation, and Chapters 2 through 5, beginning with ad valorem taxes and ending with the business and occupation taxes of the city code or ordinances regarding the procedures for denial, suspension, or revocation of occupation tax certificates and for other lawful purposes.
This is second read.
This is second read. Yes, sir.
I'll accept the motion if necessary.
I move that we approve amendments to Title II taxation of city ordinance regarding procedures and denial for suspension or revocation of occupation tax certificate.
Is there a second? Okay, that fails.
This is
It fails for lack of a second.
hold one second, Mayor. This is we have to amend this because we no longer have a treasurer. The tax code currently has treasury in it.
Is there a second? That fails for lack of a section. Next item, please.
Next item is item 22. Request council approval of a resolution denouncing domestic terrorism. Councilmember Baker.
Mr. Baker, I accept the motion if you're ready.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution. It clearly is a response to the January 6th attacks on the U.S. Capitol, where a group of, domestic terrorists and insurrectionists launched a planned and coordinated effort that ended up deadly, attacking members of Congress and directly resulted in the death of a Capitol police officer, Officer Sicknick. So I hope that you guys approve this.
Okay.
This resolution. I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Properly moved to second. Any further discussion? Seeing none or hearing anything else, let's do a roll call vote, please, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, sir. Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That was approved unanimously.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next item is item 25. Request council approval of a resolution establishing enterprise fund for high school graduations and ceremonies. Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Ms. Willis?
Okay, yes. I am still on this old agenda. Are we
Yeah,
at the, what
this is-
item number?
This is the enterprise fund for high school graduations and other related
Okay.
purposes at Wolf Creek.
Okay, so this is for us to establish an enterprise fund in order to proceed with the high school graduations in the city of South Fulton. Mr. Jarvis Adams approached me in February to work with staff to see if we could collaborate, bringing high school graduations in South Fulton to the city of South Fulton. I want to thank our park director, and I want to thank the city manager and the staff for bringing this to fruition. I think that this is going to be a monumental event for our South Fulton schools to be able to celebrate the students in our city where they live, where they play, and where they're educated. And so what this fund does is basically it will be a fund for all of the revenue and expenses related to the high school graduations that will be held at Wolf Creek Amphitheater. I'm excited that the city is able to partner with all of our South Fulton schools for this opportunity. As a former board member of Hateville Charter Career Academy, I recall us having to pay close to $50,000 or more to have graduations for Hateville Charter Career Academy, and the students had to travel on many occasions outside of their city and outside of their region because there was no accommodations within the area. And so I would ask that our city council support this measure so that we can proceed with allowing our South Fulton schools to have their graduations at Wolf Creek Amphitheater.
Second.
Okay, I have one item of discussion. This is basically for this graduation that's coming up. Am I right, Ms. Willis?
Yes, Mayor, this is for this graduation and whatever graduations, because this is not going to be the last time. That we are hoping that we can keep our graduations in the city of South Fulton. So this is not only for this graduation, this is for whatever graduation we have at Wolf Creek Amphitheater.
So that was one of my questions, because I don't know what this implies for this graduation, or if are we saying that we're going to have graduations forever at Wolf Creek?
I mean, the ordinance is clear. I put it in a resolution.
That this is an annual thing?
Why can't I get?
Mayor, we will have to come back on an annual basis to work out the terms. This is not the contract. This is for us to establish an enterprise fund for that so that whatever funding related to these graduations, they will be allocated to this enterprise fund.
I got you. I'm all right with that. So whatever they pay in, we put in enterprise fund so it doesn't get confused with the general fund. I'm with that. All right. I just want to be clear about it as we go forward.
May I make a comment? Am I in the queue?
That's all right. I hear you, though, but go ahead.
With the enterprise fund, Councilwoman Willis, and I do believe the legislation says it's not just for all graduations, it's also for other ceremonies and events that may take place at Wolf Creek Amphitheater under
That is accurate. That is accurate. We just created this because the thing that that is approaching us is our high school graduations.
Right. Okay, Ms. Rao, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to make sure the document has track changes that's in the queue. So I'm not sure if all of these have been resolved, but my question is, whatever expenses for these graduation are the fees covering, will please make sure that they cover whatever expenses we may incur as a city.
So, Councilmember Rao, to answer your question, that has already been worked out. We have had approximately 10 meetings with to include in the meetings is the city manager, the CFO, the public safety team, all of Westlake principals. We have had approximately 10 meetings to bring this to fruition.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's move on. Do we have a second? We did.
Yes, sir.
Let's vote, please.
It's a roll call vote to approve. Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Abstain.
Why?
Conflicted.
Okay. Go ahead.
Councilmember Reeves. I'm sorry, Councilmember Reeves.
I think he said aye.
Okay. Councilmember Khalid.
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item is approved, 6-0.
Next item, please.
Next item is the first reading of an ordinance regulating residential initiated parking zones. And it's sponsored by Councilmember Khalid.
This is the first read.
First reading.
Mr. Khalid, go right ahead.
Here, I'm going to share my screen. I want to not take up too much time because it is a first read. However, I do just want to make sure that people have this version of the document with the flow chart. I know we've had a couple of different agendas going out. Is this the version that people have?
Yes, sir. That's in Novus.
All right. So again, this just, I will happily take any questions now or off, over the next month before this comes back. This simply creates a process. It does not create any ordinances or any restrictions except in the case where streets are less than 21 feet wide. In neighborhoods where streets are 21 feet wide, there's no parking on either side of the street. Apparently that may have been an oversight from our previous ordinances, but according to our fire chief, we cannot have entrance or egress of vehicles on streets that are less than 21 feet wide. Streets that are 21 to 26 feet wide can have parking, or 29 feet wide, I'm sorry, can have parking on one side of the street, but cars cannot be parked on both sides of the street. That's already in the ordinance. And so that's already in our traffic ordinance, not in this particular ordinance. All this does is create a process for neighborhoods themselves to decide which side of the street that parking will be on, and the neighborhoods themselves can also decide how they are going to notify potential parkers about where they can and cannot park. So there's an option for colored curbs, there's an option for signs, and there's an option for a single sign at the entrance to the subdivision. All of that would be up to the preference of the neighborhood that is making the application. And that's pretty much it.
Any questions for Mr. Khalid? Okay, next item, please.
Next item is item 27. This is also a first read of an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2020 final budget.
Finance.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor Edwards. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is an administrative adjustment to finalize our fiscal year 2020 budget. The budget we initially adopt over the course of the year gets amended and updated throughout based on our operational needs. And at the end of the fiscal year, as part of our final cleanup and presenting for our audit, we will do a final amendment to the 2020 budget to more properly reflect our operations for the year. And this is just an exercise to complete that requirement.
Okay.
It has no impact on, this is for 2020 again, just to be very clear, the year that has closed and been gone.
This is first read. Any questions for Nina?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mhm.
I want to know why, and I hope I'm looking at the right page. I want to know why finance had a deficit of $1.6 million.
Let me get back with you on that, Mrs. Gilliard, and let you know I'm not looking at the document. I don't see what you see currently.
I'm looking at under Department of
Mr.
Finance
Reed,
and
Mr. Reed, Mr. Adams, can you bring it up for me to look at with her, please?
I think though, Miss Nina, we're talking about the amendment of fiscal year 2020.
Right.
There's
Well,
specific things, this is not a budget conversation.
no, it's not, and I really cannot. I don't have the document in front of me to make a comment one way or the other, but I will get you a response offline if that's okay.
Is that all right, Ms. Gilliard?
Yeah, that's okay. I just need to know why.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
First reading, any other questions? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, let's go.
Yeah, next item is item 13, which was removed from the consent agenda. This is a request council approval to award the contract and execute an agreement with the M. Mitchell Group LLC to provide repairs to Stacks Road over CXX Railroad for abutment wall repairs and road drainage improvements in an amount not to exceed $277,194.23.
Wait a minute. I don't think that's the correct one. The one that, are you talking about what we pulled from the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. I had item 13 and 14 that you wish to remove.
That's what
Yeah, it's the numbering that's the problem. The one I was talking about was the T-Splosh one is 15 million, and the second one is for Jack. So that was the old 13 and 14.
Okay.
That's what you said.
Okay, I'll rephrase. It moved down one because of that extra item. So
Right.
you want item 14, which is request council approval to award the contract and execute an agreement with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc. to perform T-Splosh roads resurfacing throughout the city in an amount not to exceed $15,827,366.
Okay, Public Works. It's
Good
Public
evening,
Works.
Mayor and Council. This is Antonio Valenzuela, Public Works Director for the City of South Fulton. With regards to this solicitation to bid resurfacing projects for 2020 and 2021, it was done based on the approved resurfacing projects done in 2016. Our purchasing department received our scope of services. They went ahead and bid the projects out. There was, I believe they received 3-4 bidders, and C.W. Matthews is the lowest responsive bidder. With regards to how these type of projects are bidded out, it is the norm that resurfacing projects are bidded in accordance of quantities, on estimated quantities and unit prices. So we have a list of projects for 2020, at least a project for 21, summary for cost for quantities for 2020 as well as for 2021, and an overall lowest amount of $15 million plus.
Okay. Ms. Willis, you're in the queue.
Wait a minute, I have questions. Because this was something that I brought up. I had not gone.
Ms. Gilliard, hold up. Ms. Willis, I'll get right with you. Ms. Gilliard, go right ahead.
The reason why I took or asked for this item to be taken off of the agenda is because within, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days, I've been asking questions and my questions have not been answered. The first thing is that if we are going to award a contract of this size to a company, and I'm sure that the city has gone through the bidding process. I'm not concerned about the bidding process because there are very stringent state rules about it. I'm concerned about having to vote on an agreement and I don't see the agreement and don't know what the agreement is for. So I asked for information. In the information I received, there was a line item that said scope of work, attachment A. Attachment A was not there. So I still do not know what is in the agreement for $15 million. Then the second thing was that I asked for a list of projects. Well, I got a running list of projects and I checked them against what was approved in 2016 because I have that document. Some were there, some were not there, but there was no dollar amount. What was in it was how many tons of whatever would be used. So I asked something very, very simple. What is the list of projects? And I have a folder of all of the detail up to now of how much was budgeted, how much we have spent. And I'm looking for the same type of detail of running list of projects and the dollar amount for each individual project. I haven't received that yet. So it makes it difficult for me to vote for this amount of money without having what I think should be the proper backup information.
Okay. Ms. Willis and then Mr. Khalid. Ms. Willis?
I'm asking the council to proceed with approving this measure. This contract, it has projects tied to it from Butner Rd, Stonewall Tail Roundabout to projects on Old National throughout this entire city. Mr. Venzuelas have met with the community. He has done yesterday a great community town hall regarding these projects. I have gone to Mr. Venzuelas, asked him consistently since I have been elected on where we are with some of these public works projects. He has not failed to provide me with any information that I have requested of him. It has gone through a fair bidding process, which is the most critical thing when you are talking about awarding contracts. And that process has been met. And I do not want to hold this measure up. We were sent our agenda last week. And in my opinion, that was plenty of time for us to ask for additional information regarding any of these contracts. At some point, we do have to trust staff. That's what they're getting paid the big bucks for, to handle operations and make recommendations to council. I have no reason not to trust what is being brought before us. And so that our community can be served, and so that we can move forward with some of these public safety, public works projects that we have been asking for to be completed for years, can we please move forward? I'm asking, is there a motion on the floor, Mayor? Can I make a motion? I move that we approve measure 13, which is the T-Splosh agreement, approval to award contract and execute an agreement with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company Incorporated. Thank you.
Is there a
Yeah,
second?
I was about to second.
I'm
All
not
right,
finished,
properly
Mr. Mayor.
moved to second. I see in discussion, we have Mr. Khalid and then
I'm
Ms. Gilliard.
Yes.
It's Mr. Khalid, then Ms. Gilliard.
Uh, First, I want to ask Mr. Valenzuela, is there something?
Respond to Tony and tell him about the T-Splosh?
Someone needs to mute themselves.
Is there something time sensitive about this? Can we wait another 30 days to just get Councilwoman Gilliard some more answers? And I actually have a set of questions too. Or is there some project where we will lose matching funds or lose out in some way if we don't approve this right now?
Council Khalid, the information on each single project, each subdivision, and roads inclusive in each subdivision was listed on the ITV. Then the information was provided in a couple of occasions as requested. Our purchasing department has provided the information as well. We do not have an agreement at this point. There's nothing we can provide with regard to an agreement until this body council approves the award. Then purchasing will proceed with the award and contract executions with C.W. Matthews. With regards to specifics, resurfacing contractors are hot, are on demand. If we want to resurface bigger corridors such as Butner Rd and bigger subdivisions that were scheduled for 2020 and 2021, we must proceed as recommended to you all. If we do not proceed, I clearly anticipate delaying this project up to next year, and subsequently the cost, the index cost for gas and asphalt increases. It is I think we're recommending the best scenario for the city to save some funds as well. And as you can imagine, projects in 2016 were assessed. Now we're about to go to resurfacing in 2021. The conditions from 2016 to 2021 are different. And in roads, you can assess today and tomorrow will be a different situation. So what you have seen in front of you are based on estimated costs. And that's a norm that Georgia DOT follows it. We follow the same norms, and we're going to, we have recommended as we have done it in the past 5-6 years to you all.
All right, so I'm not completely clear, but it sounds like you said if we delay this till next month, the cost will go up and we won't finish.
That's kind of what I heard, Mr. Khalid.
So I respect that. However, we have asked on multiple occasions when we have these project lists to have estimated completion dates. So I would hope that you could bring this back with estimated completion dates, because when I put this list out, the question that I'm going to get first, people are going to look up their street and say, when are they coming? When will
exactly?
And I know that may not be, I know that we may not be able to hold them to the hour, minute, day, but you know, if we say they're coming in September and they don't come until October, that's one thing.
Hold on, Miss. Are you finished, Ms. Khalid?
Almost.
Okay.
I'll let you know. Whenever we have project lists like this, so I'm just going to reiterate this because we've asked for it multiple times. Whenever we have project lists for any public works projects, they must come with timelines. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Mayor
Edwards.
I'm next. I'm next. I'm next.
And then Ms. Rao, is that the city manager?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to make.
Hold up. I'll get you in a minute.
Okay.
Let me get Ms. Gilliard and Ms. Rao, then I'll get you.
Okay. I want to respond to the fact that it's not like this is something that I just looked at in the past 24 hours. I've been asking. And what I am reading literally is to request council approval to award the contract and execute an agreement. And what I got today was something. I don't really know what it was. All I know is the scope of work wasn't in it. So if we're asked to sign something, not knowing what the scope of work is, that's number one. And number two, I have a folder of all of the projects, and Mr. Valenzuela knows this because I've asked almost every year, give me a list of all the projects that have been done. I get that list. That list has dollar amounts attached to it. That is not what I received for what this $15 million is supposed to cover. And so I don't feel that I have enough information to make a good decision about voting on something like this. And every time I ask for something, I get something else and I can read. So I'm a little annoyed about it, really.
All right. Thank you, Gilliard. We have Ms. Rao, then we have the manager, then we'll go to a vote.
This is just clarification. I know we received information from the procurement manager that broke down for fiscal year 2020 and 2021's projects. And combined, they come up with the $15 million, if that's my understanding. And I just want to confirm that the list that we have that shows every road that will be repaved in the invitation to bid has been bid on and is included in that 15 million.
Mr. Valenzuela?
Yes, ma'am, that is the case, and I can assure
That was
you
my understanding. I just wanted for the edification of the public. I know that invitation to bid shows every single street and the length of the street.
Right.
And it was sent to the entire council on 2 occasions.
That's
Well, I
true.
don't see that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rao. We're gonna have the manager, then I'm gonna call for the vote, Ms. Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, what Councilmember Rao addressed is what I was going to address, that we did send out the roads. That information has been provided. Again, staff went through a competitive bid process. But any information that you still need, we will be more than happy to get it to you. But I just want you to know that we take, these things very seriously. I mean, this is a lot of money, and we want to make sure that you understand that we are doing everything we can to be as transparent as possible. But if there's any information you need, I will make sure that the staff gets it to you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk.
Can I ask a follow-up question,
Well, I
Mayor?
call for the voting.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's vote.
Okay, this is a motion by Councilmember Willis, second by Councilmember Gums to approve. Roll call vote, Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard. Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
No.
Councilmember Baker. Councilmember Gilliard. So the motion is approved. 5.
Okay. What was the count?
It was 6 yeas and 1 nay.
Okay. Next item, please.
I didn't vote.
We asked
I'm
you-
sorry, that's correction. It's 5-1-1. So it was 5 yeas, 1 no, and 1 abstention.
Who's the abstention?
Ms. Gilliard did not vote. She did not vote.
Okay, Ms. Gilliard, if you're abstaining, could you give me your reason, please?
Because I don't have the information that I need to make a good decision.
I got you, ma'am. Okay. All right, next item, please.
Next item is request council approval to execute service authorization number 2 for JAT Consulting Services Incorporated to provide guidance and assistance during the FY22 budget process in an amount not to exceed $25,000.
Mr. You go right ahead.
I pulled it, Mr. Mayor, because I just wanted to know what they do. That's all.
Ms. Manager, you want to address that?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council and citizens of City of South Fulton. JATP is currently the consulting firm that we are using in our finance department. The initial scope of work was under my spending authority. So we did do a contract, but because we need to continue using JATP, we are having to bring it before the council. This particular consultant will assist us in developing the fiscal year 2022 budget. They will assist us in developing the personnel budgets, facilitating capital and operating requests from our departments. And we are asking for council's support and authorization to continue to allow JATP to work in the finance department. As you are aware, we are still in a process of not having our finance director position filled. We have an interim, but we don't have a permanent director yet. We are still in the process of trying to receive applications and do interviews. And Ms. Rachel Brimby, who is with JATP Consulting, has been very beneficial in helping us this current fiscal year, and we really need her assistance as we prepare for the fiscal year 2022 budget. We want to try to be as transparent as we can in that process. We want to try to be as detailed as we can in that process, and having her on board to assist us and assist our finance department staff has been very beneficial thus far. And again, it is our recommendation that council approve allowing her to continue assisting with us. And we expect that just for, maybe through September 30th is when we may need to wrap up services with her. But right now, that contract would be through September 30th, 2021. Thank you.
Mayor, I move that we approve this measure. The request to execute service authorization number 2 for JAT Consulting Services Incorporated to provide guidance for assistance during the fiscal 22 budget process.
In the amount.
Second.
Okay, it's properly moved in second. Ms. Rao, I see you in the queue on discussion.
No, I was just seconding the motion.
Okay, all right. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. Let's vote, please. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Rao,
Yes.
Councilmember Gums,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That item was approved unanimously.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Reeves was attempted to give me a second. Well, he tried to give me a second. He couldn't get through. So I'll defer to him, but he's asking if you will allow him to reconsider item 20. And then for my second, and then if that's the case, I would like for the city manager to explain the changes to the taxation ordinance.
Mr. Clerk, I think that what is the procedure for reconsideration?
He said he gave me a second, Mayor.
Let me give.
I said that in the chat, in the text to you.
Yeah. Typically, because there was no second on it, if it would have been approved, you would need someone on the prevailing side to offer a motion of reconsideration. But there was a motion made and no second.
Well, I had seconded right what he had said.
Hold up, Mr. Reeves. Let me make sure that the record is correct. Okay. So based on that, we can ask for a reconsideration of the motion and go forward.
Yeah, I would definitely also defer to the city attorney, the parliamentarian, to make an official ruling.
Hyman, do you see it that way?
I do, sir.
Okay, so all we need is a motion to reconsider.
A motion to reconsider item number 20.
Second.
We're properly moved to second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. Do I need to go on the queue?
Yeah, go. No, it's nobody. Go ahead.
Okay, and so I would like the city manager to explain why we are requesting the changes to this ordinance. This is not substantial changes, but all throughout this ordinance, it has language that mentions the city manager, the city treasurer. And so because we went through a charter change, we are just basically we are just updating the taxation ordinance to reflect what is in the charter. One of the things that was substantial is if we ever had a revocation to a business license, this has nothing to do with alcohol license, but if we ever had a revocation to the business license, then that right now, that is, we had a CFO presiding over that. When we did research, most cities have their city manager overseeing that process, and the CFO makes recommendations to the city manager. And so also throughout the ordinance, again, like I stated, there were several mentionings of the treasury, and we no longer have treasurer, and we no longer have that role. And so that's all we're changing. And Councilmember Reeves also was trying to make updates to this ordinance at some point, but he did not realize that I had already been working with the city manager's office to get this updated. And so I'll defer to the city manager so she can further explain in detail.
Ms. Jack?
Thank you, Councilmember Willis. I think you did a great job summarizing everything. The only thing I was just going to add was, as Councilmember Willis mentioned, there was some cleanup that needed to be done. So we went through and removed any references to the treasurer or the CFO and substituted that with the finance director, and specifically the section regarding the hearings that will now come to the city manager's office, and that will be me and or my designee.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, let's vote.
Yes, this is a motion to reconsider, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, that's correct.
Motion to reconsider is motion by Councilmember Willis, second by Councilmember Reeves. Roll call vote, Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Yes.
Councilmember Reeves. Councilmember Khalid.
I'm gonna abstain.
Reason?
I don't understand.
What is it?
I don't understand.
Okay, good. All right, next.
Councilmember Baker.
I'm abstain
Reason?
because I don't know how lawful this is. We've never reconsidered something in the same meeting after moving past something.
Well,
we've never done that before. When something fails because of a lack of a second, we've never brought it back up in the same meeting.
Okay. What's the vote?
Good point.
The vote was 5-0 to reconsider item. It was 21, second reading and request council approval of amendments to Title II taxation of the city's ordinance regarding procurement for denial, suspension, or revocation of occupation tax certificate. So that item is now before you.
Need a motion.
I move that we approve this ordinance. Thank you.
Second.
Properly moved to second. Roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote, Councilmember Rao.
Yes.
Councilmember Gums.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis.
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard.
Ms. Gilliard?
I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Councilmember Reeves.
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid.
I'm gonna abstain again.
Okay, for the same reason?
And Mark Baker's reason to tack that on.
Okay, good.
But no, doesn't.
Councilmember Baker.
Yeah, aye.
You
My
said-
abstention was procedural the first time.
Okay. All right. What's the custom count, Ms. Clerk?
That item approved 5-0-2. You had one abstention and one no vote.
All right, Mr. Hyman,
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
you send something out that pertains to the legality of the motion that was made to reconsider?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next item, sir.
Next item is executive session.
Would y'all like to take a break or what you want to do?
Are there any items we have to discuss in executive session, Mayor?
Work straight
Yes.
through.
There's a few from the manager and the
Okay.
legal department, just not
Can we
many.
take a 5-minute break, like a laboratory break?
Yeah, we can.
All right.
5 minutes is all right with everybody?
Yes.
Mr. Clerk, what time we gonna be back?
That will be 5:59.
Okay, let's do it.
Need a motion to,
Wait a minute.
you gonna do a
It's
motion to?
5:56 now.
So can we just do,
6 o'clock. 6
6
o'clock.
o'clock.
I move that we go into executive session to discuss real estate, personnel, and litigation at 6:05.
Okay.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved second in discussion. Hearing none, let's vote.
Yes.
Roll, thank you. Councilmember Gomes,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Willis,
Yes.
Councilmember Gilliard,
Yeah.
Councilmember Reeves,
Aye.
Councilmember Khalid,
Yes.
Councilmember Baker.
Aye.
That motion was approved.
Be back at what time?
6:05.
6:05.
Gotcha.